I'm wearing an Atari shirt because we're going to finalize my overall gameplay review of the Atari Flashback 9 Gold that we reviewed earlier in some other videos. Now we've had a lot of time to play around with it. I went away on the weekend to go out to work in Markham for a day, and that night before that I stayed at my buddy Jeff's house. Now we should have filmed a little bit of it, but we didn't get a chance to. And what was great about it was we actually played around a lot, played a lot of games, and I gotta say, combat is a ton of fun. I've forgotten how much fun that is, especially when you put the bouncing bullets on and whatever. Now, some people did address some issues with a two-player or second-player joystick being an issue. I never actually had the issue, but I didn't really get to play paddle games. So the issue was in paddle games. I kind of tried to go play around with paddle games. For what we had for Player 2, we didn't have any trouble with like Kaboom. That I remember because we were using the sticks just to try and play the game, which was extremely hard, by the way. But we did try 6 different sets of original Atari paddles, and I can confirm that it does not work. Now, not only can I confirm it doesn't work, I did actually contact Atgames, and Atgames responded beautifully and talked to us about it. And the truth is, they have to do a firmware update to make those work, a compatibility thing. But saying that, they have no interest in it, as for 2019 they're making something new. So they're kind of leaving this thing behind. So if you want to buy this thing for paddle game support, I'm going to recommend against it. Other than that, if you want an Atari to play all the normal Atari games, the thing is phenomenal. We had no issues. The wireless gamepads performed beautifully. We didn't have any grief or grime. Now, I did add games to the unit, and I'm going to show you right now where to go to do that. When you're searching for the Atari Flashback 9 Gold, and if you type SD card or firmware or something pertaining to the SD card, one of the first things you're actually going to go to is AtariAge.com. Now, I did use the firmware from here and it did not work. I do think it's actually a lot older, as it's October 25th, 2018 when they put this up. So definitely there has been changes made. Also, I noticed that this file size was only 36 meg, and that is okay, except for when I found the actual updated file, it was more like 60 or 64 meg. So let me show you where I actually got it. Now, one thing I will tell you, Atari Age, you can download the full Atari ROM list here. As I mentioned, go through it and make sure you take the spaces out of your game names, or even put a underscore where the space is, or whatever you wish to do to create no space. And that is because the games will not launch unless the spaces are removed. Perfect example here, Atari underscore update would be a great name for the game, or you'd have to just put the Atari update as one word. Where you will go, and what I did find out, was Atgames Flashback Zone. So you have Atari Flashback 9, Atgames Flashback Zone here, and so it's atgames.us products, whatever, and you click this link and you go to this new site here. This is where they're selling them and blah blah blah, and showing them off. And here we can go to firmware update portal. Now what you'll have to do here, of course, is you'll have to register your product. And to register your product, it actually tells you a code that you need to put in that's actually built in. Your unit has its own unique identifier, its own serial number. And if you go to basically about this unit in your menu on your Atari Flashback, you'll have the number that they're asking for. You type that in, you register, and you download their file. So once you download their file, you put it on an SD card. Pop the SD card in, and then you do the steps that they tell you to do, which will come up on the screen. It'll tell you to go left to do the update. You do the update, and when it reboots again, you'll go to the right and boot as normal. Okay, so basically once you have your product registered now, you can sign in I'll just sign in here and save, whatever. And then you can go to how to upgrade, and it'll tell you everything. There's even a video here. You download your file for the Atari that you have, and I believe the Flashback 9, Flashback 9 Gold, and so on, they're all the same file, so that's not a big deal. And it'll be, so for example here, they want you to change the Atari Flashback name to Atari_update.img. So you need to rename it, and if it's a Sega one, you rename it to what it says here. All the instructions are here. It is pretty straightforward. It's very simple. And then after that, you have to name, so once it's all done, you take out the SD card. Once you have your firmware done, you remove the file from it. So you just want it to be a blank, formatted FAT32 SD card. And then you add your ROMs, but you have to add your ROMs to a folder called Game. So you need to make a folder on the SD card called Game. Without that, your SD card will not be acknowledged, it will not be recognized, and you will not be able to play any of the games. I put an S at the end of it and it did not work. So I just want to verify that, guys. Just name a folder Game. And then you put all your ROMs in there, make sure there's no spaces between the game names, so it's all one word for each game title, and all your games will work right from there. It is that simple. So guys, now what you're going to notice that's different now is your SD card is not blacked out anymore if you have the actual thing labeled right. So when you go to your SD card, you can see here I have all new games. I'm going to see if I have a game here that actually is not labeled properly, and I think this might be it right here. Labeled properly, this is what will happen. You click the game, you go to play it, and it goes right back to the main menu. As you can see, there's spaces in the words, therefore it did not work. I didn't fix it. Whereas you'll see here, Art Duel has a underscore. If I click it, the game will actually launch. So basically, features and usability that you did with the even rewinding, I believe, works. I didn't have any issues. But now I have every game, or at least almost every game, that the Atari had put out. The beauty of this is now, for example, games like Defender, which is my all-time favorite Atari game, I can now actually play, which I couldn't before because this unit never had it. So if I go up here, Defender, and of course we're probably not going to have audio as normal because it doesn't seem to ever give us audio. But here we go. I'm playing Defender. Right? We hate those things because they become more than one. So I'm not even going to know when they take somebody. So I'm going to fly low here for a little bit. So, of course, you guys know Defender. I mean, Defender is these little UFOs here. They try to take people, and they try to fly away with them. And if, like that guy right there. And then if you catch the guy at a certain height, he should be fine. But if not, I will die. There we go. So, anyway, the bottom line is, at this point now, I have every game that I wanted for my Atari on my now high-definition Atari. Now, the beauty of this is, of course, you now have one machine. You don't need to use cartridges anymore, so you can collect your Atari. You can put your cartridges away, especially if they're box mint, whatever. You don't want to be using those. And you can play these pretty much, I would say, as true as the original Atari. So it's not like you're losing something or you're finding a difference in the game or a lag. I found these games to perform and run as they were original. So this is one flashback I say go out and get. Now, what I'm going to do, I did have a user contact me and ask about paddle games. Again, like I said, paddle games, the paddle support is not there. There has been people confirming that they've gotten paddles to work, original Atari paddles. And Atgames did tell me that some people were lucky and had that happen. But I'm not seeing it. We tried 6 different paddles, it did not work. Atgames confirmed that realistically it should not work according to their software, and there would have to be a firmware update, which they apparently are not actually interested in doing, as something new apparently is coming for 2019. Which could be really awesome or whatever. So let's go back over. I'm going to try something the user did ask me about. What is up with the second player game stick in paddle games? And he had mentioned Pong. So we're going to go to Pong. Oh, I guess Pong is in the... Okay. So we have to actually go to Pong in the added games. That part he never told me. I didn't bother doing paddle game look or looking at the paddle games because, well, one, there was no need to, as I didn't have paddles. And to be honest, paddle games are meant to be played with paddles, and they really suck without them. So let's go over to paddle, or... Oops, I think I went too far. Oh, maybe I do not have Pong on my card. Well, sorry for that. I don't have Pong on here, so I will try another two-player game. Paddle. And let's see here. I will go to Kaboom, launch Kaboom, and I'm telling you guys, we tried playing this. This is hard with only one controller. Very hard. So that should be two-player. And here we go. Okay, now I will die on purpose. Let's just die on purpose. Oh no! And it does appear that the second player on paddle games does not work. That is very interesting. This person is absolutely right. Even on Kaboom, I cannot get the second player to go. So guys, there is a weird second player issue with the paddle games. That's interesting. Now, I didn't notice any second player problems with other games because the other games we played were like combat and stuff like that, and they all work perfectly fine. So anyway, guys, so if you want to buy the system, remember paddle support is pretty much null and void. Forget this system as a paddle system. Other than that, enjoy everything else the Atari had to offer. Now again, on Atari Age, you will find a ROMs list to download. I'm not going to put a link to it, but on Atari Age, I'm saying it, you can go there and you can download all the games. Remember, like I said, to take the spaces out of the titles, whether you put an underscore or you just link it together so it's one word. That is up to you how you want to do it. But if there's a space in your game, or if you go to launch a game and it does not load and it goes back to the main menu, that means that you actually did not fix that game name. Now, it could be 3 different words and 1 letter didn't get moved, whatever the case is, but that will happen. I've been there. I had to rename mine a few times. Overall, everything else, as far as the hardware went, we had no issues. Again, like I said, with the joysticks were phenomenal. Being the ease of use versus the original Atari sticks, these are much better. The wireless support for these game sticks were actually bang on. We didn't have any issues, delays. We played Pac-Man, we played tons of different stuff. Played, honestly, about an hour of combat. We really put this machine through some tests, and we were falling asleep. We played this thing till 2:30 in the morning, and we realized, whoa, we both got to get up, I got to go to work, and so on. So we had to stop playing. Other than that, we would have just kept on going, falling asleep on the couch. but it was that much fun. I had forgotten how addictive these old Atari games are, and they really are. Sometimes graphics means nothing. So guys, there's a link as well. I'm going to put both links so you can go to Atari Age. You can search from there for your ROMs, and I'm going to put a link for the Atgames, and you can do your register of your system, create your account, and download your update image for your system. It is a factory image, the actual factory image that was in, let's say, a newest launched unit, or you can update now to the newest launch from that update. It is from Atgames, it's their factory image, and it works well. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Until next time, guys, let's go play some Atari, and make sure there's not a lot of game overs. I had a lot of fun playing Defender. I was so happy after I added Defender to the system. I didn't want to stop playing Defender. But anyway, guys, thank you.